The moment the courtroom just, like, it shifted. You could feel it. It wasn't a confession, not some dramatic recording.
No, it was quieter. The sources we looked at pointed straight to an email.
An email, yeah. And it seemed to come out of nowhere, right? Like this logistics memo from the Eras tour.
Exactly. Seemed totally routine.
Right.
Pulled from Taylor Swift's tour files, titled VIP Review Nashville plus Tampa. Pretty mundane on the surface.
But how it surfaced, that's the key. The source's detail, it wasn't like a leak or a raid.
No, it was apparently an accidental forward, buried, like way down in an old corporate archive.
An archive tied to Swift LLC, which only got pulled because it was subpoenaed in a whole separate investigation, the one involving Sean Diddy Combs' business sponsors.
Total coincidence, seemingly. And inside that archive,
Mm-hmm.
Maybe 12 emails deep in a chain.
Mm-hmm.
This one line, highlighted in red.
Send the scout names directly to L.A. Mark Home M.
And that name, L.A. Mark Home M, that, according to the sources, was the direct link to Sean Diddy Combs.
Suddenly, he's embedded right there in the logistics of the biggest tour on the planet. It wasn't saying he did anything with the tour, but the link was there, undeniable.
And that's what the prosecutors jumped on, based on these sources. They argued this wasn't just a name. It revealed a whole system.
Yeah, that the Eras tour itself, maybe without the core team even knowing the extent, was being used as like a trap, a funnel.
A stage for something much, much darker.
Yeah.
So this deep dive, we're following what the sources showed, the specific evidence, the connections made.
And what they revealed about this system, kind of operating right there in plain sight, but hidden. Okay, let's get into it.
A huge piece the sources covered was the Eras Tour's fan experience database. It became federal property.
Right, and that's where the first real mention of the Crimson 10 came up.
Yeah, a list of names, flagged, in a folder called ScoutSync that was apparently on a leaked drive.
And the prosecution's take, citing that data from the sources, these weren't fans getting perks, they were targets. That was the word used.
Chilling. And then came the visuals. The sources included photos.
6 girls. 6 different cities, all wearing the exact same red wristband.
And these weren't Ticketmaster items, not in any VIP package anyone could buy. Swift's team, the sources confirmed, had zero record of them.
So where did they come from? The tech side was fascinating.
Yeah, an FBI analyst explained it, according to the source material. These wristbands had passive RFID chips inside.
Like the kind used for tracking inventory, basically, but on people.
Exactly. Tiny tags, no battery needed, read remotely. She called it discrete asset tracking and passive surveillance. Perfect for crowds.
These aren't fan items, she said. That quote stuck with me from the sources.
Right. Once they were activated, they'd ping location data. Limited range, but still. The key takeaway from the source's tech analysis, that these girls are being tracked actively.
And it wasn't just data. The sources brought in witness testimony that it made your blood run cold.
Like the mother, describing her daughter thinking she'd won big. Some surprise Instagram lottery from Swift.
Supposedly for a special acoustic set before the actual show. It sounds amazing, right?
Totally. But then she gets this plain envelope. No branding, nothing fancy, just a red wristband and an address.
She went to that address.
And the sources say she just vanished after that point. Security footage showed her going in a side gate, not the fan entrance.
Logged as crew, intern, but Swift's team, again from the sources, no record, nothing.
That entrance was apparently just for production overflow, like extra equipment trucks or something.
Yeah.
From there, the trail went completely cold. That's what the mother testified, according to the sources.
And this wasn't isolated. The sources connected other girls with these same wristbands.
Dude, totally separate events. Events under Diddy's brand.
Like one girl, tracked via the wristband data, showed up as crew at a fashion launch in 2022. Unpaid. Underage.
And listed through some modeling agency that was already dissolved. But, and this is crucial from the sources, that agency shared banking links with Pulse Guest Relations.
Pulse Guest Relations. A company of the sources tied directly to Combs' events. You see the layers starting to form. Shell companies, maybe?
Seems like it. And the purpose of the wristbands? Internal texts. Leaked to the prosecution? Cited in the sources.
Read that again. It was chilling.
Crimson 10 is locked. No resyncs only. Push model. Night 2, group text only.
Locked. Push model. Group text only. The sources interpreted this as operational language. Tagging them. Routing them. Keeping it quiet.
And the implication was stark. The Eras Tour wasn't the target. The sources painted it as the delivery system. for the girls on that Crimson 10 list.
Which brings us to Exhibit 42B.
Right, a solid-state drive, just labeled Miami Night 6 Combs.
Found where again?
In a beat-up red Pelican case, stored under a fake name. Classic tradecraft almost.
And inside that drive, the Scout Sync folder. Video logs, emails, field reports.
And the sources detailed this really disturbing pattern emerging from all that material.
They played a clip transcript in court, right? Clip 3A.
They did. And the quote, pulled from the source material. Yo, this is confirmation. Swift VIP pulls are clean. Forwarded to Shell East list contains initials. TS flag. Don't touch her. She's heat right now.
Wow. Okay, so Swift VIP pulls are clean, meaning...
Meaning the interpretation from the sources was whoever they were pulling from Swift's immediate VIP circles, those interactions were above board, maybe monitored.
But the TS flag, don't touch her.
That was huge. The sources suggested Taylor Swift herself wasn't involved, wasn't a target. She was flagged, protected somehow, like someone powerful warned them off her.
But not her fans.
Exactly. That protection, according to the sources, didn't extend down, especially not to anyone tagged with a red wristband.
The drive also talked about celebrity convergence operations.
Yeah, these lavish parties, often in mansions,
Yeah.
timed perfectly with big music festivals or, crucially, tour stops.
And the sources mentioned scouts deployed specifically near Swift's Miami show.
They did, right around the venue. And then there was the testimony from the former security guy, worked for Diddy.
What did he say? His role was supposed to be logistics, right?
Supposedly, perimeter control.
Yeah.
But he described what he actually saw as movement, not protection. Girls being rerouted, moved around.
And about Taylor's tour.
His quote, direct from the sources, she didn't know, but they used her, said stadium shows were the perfect cover. So much chaos, high turnover, easy to blend in.
The sources even had a building schematic.
Of a mansion on Star Island, labeled Combs Production Retreat. And guest records showed someone like one of Swift's managers listed the night of the Miami show.
She didn't go in, though.
No, the sources state she never entered, but her assistant did.
Why? What was the theory there from the witness?
His quote, I think they were hoping she'd be the new cover. She had the audience. She had the shield. The idea presented in the sources was using that massive fame, that visibility, as a protective layer for other activities.
Which leads into the next connection the sources made. Day 5. A name nobody expected.
Ariana Grande. Totally different coast, right? Not in the Eras tour at all.
But her name pops up on Exhibit 42FA, referencing what?
It referenced, and this is technical, a G guest clause carryover from Crimson.
Meaning?
Okay, so the analysts explained this. Based on the source data, it was like a back-end marker. It allowed active tracker data, think those RFID tags from the Red Wristbands, to be migrated. Moved from one event system, like Swift's tour vicinity,
for another, like something related to Grande.
Exactly. And crucially, the sources stressed, without the main artist, Grande in this case, necessarily knowing, the analysts confirmed it, RFID data was moved across systems.
And there was proof, a photo.
Yeah, the sources included a photo.
Girl.
2 girls, previously ID'd via the wristbands in the Swift system, now seen entering an Ariana Grande fragrance launch in Miami.
Through the front door.
No. Service elevator. They weren't on the public list. They were on a separate sealed list, managed by Diddy's private security, according to the sources.
Someone saw them.
The concierge at the hotel where the event was held, the Yay Hotel, his testimony, cited in the sources, I remember them. They weren't there for the party.
What did he mean?
He said, they looked scared, like they had a job to do but didn't know what it was. And Ariana, performing upstairs, sources say completely unaware.
So the theory solidified around this diagram.
Right. Explicitly titled in the sources, Celebrity Pass-Through Model Tier 1 Talent as Visibility Shields.
Visibility shields. Using these huge beloved artists, their events, their infrastructure.
As cover. As camouflage for darker stuff happening just off stage, essentially.
Yeah.
Using their systems without their knowledge. The sources painted a picture of this being potentially systemic.
Okay, shift gears slightly. The recording operations came from a dancer.
A backup dancer, yeah.
Yeah.
From the southeast leg of the Eras tour, which, notably, the sources pointed out, was the same leg with those missing entries and wristband sightings.
And he saw something.
He said he saw the wrong tape. That's how he put it in his testimony, per the sources.
What happened?
Finished rehearsal in Atlanta, went to a green room, found it locked, then a woman comes out. Red dress, was shaken, totally silent, didn't have a pass.
He asked her if she was okay?
Yeah, just, you good. She didn't say a word, just left.
So he looked inside the room.
He did. And it wasn't a normal green room setup. He described, and the sources detailed this, a black curtain hung on a tripod, like a makeshift interview background.
And a camera?
A camera, blinking red, recording. A woman was sitting there crying, 2 men in suits flanking her. Table with red folders, water, headphones, like an interrogation almost.
And someone stopped him?
Yeah, a guy inside just said, "Wrong green room. This one's private." So he left.
But then he heard his own voice.
Later, saw leaked courtroom footage online, heard himself asking, "You good?" He realized then, as the sources clarified, he had been recorded. They were recording everything, everyone.
And this wasn't just Atlanta.
No, the sources documented this exact setup: the curtain, the camera, the red folders in hotel rooms near Swift events in Denver, Miami, Las Vegas.
Always involving the Red Wristband girls.
Often, yes.
Yeah.
And operating under fake production company names. The file metadata, according to the sources, even had codes like TSRW1,
Which they decoded as
Taylor Swift Red Room Witness 1. It suggested a systematic documentation effort happening in parallel to the tour.
Did he ever see the woman in the red dress again? The one who came out of the room?
He was asked that. His testimony. In the sources. Her trailer caught fire 2 weeks later. She was replaced. They never even told the dancers her name.
God. Okay, then there was the physical evidence, something tangible.
The necklace. You remember seeing the picture in the source files? Silver pendant, looked like an old cassette tape. Thin chain.
Looked cool, but it wasn't merch.
No, the sources confirmed it was real. And it worked. As a recorder.
And it had a recording on it.
A short one. 16 seconds, the sources transcribed it. A young woman's voice. Panicked. Whispering.
What did she say?
He said, "I got lucky that I'm prettier in person." Then a pause.
There's someone behind the mirror. I saw them move.
Then silence. A click.
And the girl wearing this.
On the Crimson 10 list, the sources tracked her checking into a boutique hotel in Nashville, the night of the Swift concert there, May 6th, 2023.
Did she go to the show?
Never made it. Her room was found pristine, untouched, except for that necklace left on the windowsill.
But it wasn't just a recorder, right? The sources found something else.
That was the stunner. The little cassette inside wasn't just for audio. It contained a time code system.
For what?
For defunct biometric locks. Old tech. And property records, cited in the sources, showed those lock systems were originally registered to a private residence owned by Sean Combs.
So the necklace was also a key.
Potentially. To some hidden access point, maybe an older security system. The sources presented it not as a memento, but as a tool.
What about the hotel? Anything else there?
The sources detailed a few things. 90 minutes of surveillance footage just missing. From the third floor, her floor, that night.
And the maids.
Reported a weird smell from her room 312 the next morning. Written off as pipes at the time. Until the case reopened, obviously.
Someone saw her last.
A doorman, according to the sources, said she stepped outside for a second, said something really strange. "Tell my mom I saw her favorite song live."
Yeah. But she hadn't been to the concert yet.
Exactly. She hadn't entered the venue at all. Made no sense.
And they found something else in the room. Under the bed.
A red velvet envelope. The sources documented what was inside. An unused ticket to the Swift concert. An unused red wristband. And a torn piece of paper. Shaky handwriting. "I won something I didn't sign up for."
This ties back to that lottery idea.
It connected directly, per the sources, to a campaign tracked as ERA Surprise Selection, a shell initiative, advertised only via private DMs, email invites. Super exclusive, but not official.
And the funding.
FBI subpoenas, detailed in the sources, traced it to a dissolved company, Combs Experience Group.
So the conclusion drawn in the sources.
They weren't running contests. They were running what the prosecution called capture routes, ways to lure people in. The necklace, the wristband, the hotel room booking, all tools, all part of it.
Then the trail went digital again, but in a weird place.
Yeah. Part 8 of the case, documented in the sources, focused on a Swift fan page called Swift Coded. Pretty small, like 15,000 followers.
Why was that relevant?
The timing. That's what got prosecutors' attention, according to the sources. A month before that Nashville show, the page posts a blurry pic of a red envelope. Caption: "She's not ready for what's coming. Red isn't just a color anymore."
Okay, that's specific.
Right. Then, 3 days before the first TikTok leak showing a girl with a red wristband, Swift-coded posts. "Not every VIP is meant to return. Some are just meant to be seen."
Creepy. And there is more.
A week before the necklace was found, the page shared a tape emoji with the text, "You won, but you don't know what yet."
So was it just a fan guessing? Or
That's what investigators wondered. But IP logs presented in the sources showed it wasn't run by a fan. It came from an internal server, previously registered to.
Let me guess. Pulse Events.
Pulse Events. The same company linked to the wristbands, the dissolved agency, the one that ghosted legal requests.
So Swift-coded wasn't fandom. It was, what? A leak. A warning system.
Sources suggested it was like a coded breadcrumb trail, disguised as fan chatter, maybe trying to warn people, but only indirectly.
What was the last post?
June 1st, 2023. When the music stops, don't clap, run. Then the account went private. Then dark.
FBI called it disturbing.
Yeah, the timing, the content. The sources said agents saw it as showing intentionality. Someone inside knew and was using symbols to communicate.
And there was one last piece connecting to this.
Physical piece, yeah. From a trash fire in Brentwood, California. A burned piece of cardstock.
An invitation?
Looked like it. Charred, but you could read, according to the sources, C10 Final Nashville Drop.
C10. Crimson 10.
Exactly. And on the back, handwritten Swift lyric, I knew you'd haunt all of my what-ifs. The sources stated this invite was mailed directly to Swift-coded.
Which brings us to the final day, the last exhibit described in the sources.
And it was maybe the most chilling because it was so simple. Just video from the actual Nashville Era's tour show.
What did it show?
You know, the usual scene, fireworks, huge crowd, phones everywhere. But sources describe focusing on the top right corner, almost hidden, a single figure.
Doing what?
Moving against the crowd, a girl in a red dress. Not dancing, not singing along, just walking. Slowly, silently, toward the exit.
Could you see?
Her wristband, the red one. It caught the light for just a second, glowed faintly.
And they zoomed in?
Freeze frame, zoomed right in, her face. It matched one of the names from the Crimson 10 list.
A name that,
according to the sources, never posted online again after August 2023. Backstage records showed her logged into the venue system that night, but never logged out.
Just walking away.
The video was just quiet.
Yeah.
Real, amidst all that noise. The sources noted the irony. She thought she'd won something. Maybe in a way she just won the right to disappear quietly.
So pulling back, this whole deep dive guided by these sources, it paints this incredibly disturbing picture.
Yeah, that behind the spectacle, the joy, the lights of these massive, massive events that everyone loves, there might have been this other system operating, hidden.
Using the artists, the tours, not involving them directly maybe, but using them.
As a shield, yeah. That was the term from the sources. A bright, glittering cover for something else entirely.
It really makes you think, based on everything the sources laid out, if the tour, the artist, was the shield, then who or maybe what was the sword?